Controversies of the day with Logan and Jay. How you doing out there, everybody? Hope you're having a good summer. Summer 2025 coming to a closer. You know, it's so crazy with the president, okay? Now, last year, I think we on the show are more supportive of the president. And, you know, I mean, when the other side gives you Kamala Harris and Tim Walz, you know, and the way they handled Biden and the whole thing, and we've been through it, I know, ad nauseum. Hey, I mean, what can we do? I don't know. I could have done the protest thing, voted for a libertarian candidate, thought about it, and my heart was there. But anyway, try to be a little more practical as you get older. But I don't know what to think, folks. You know, and I keep wondering the whole time with radio shows, with media. I mean, is it you have to be all on this team or all on this team? How about people that just want to tell you like it is? So if they like this, great. If they don't like that, well, let's talk about that too. And that's kind of where I'm at. I don't know. Is that where you're at? You know, it's kind of like good Trump, bad Trump, good Trump, bad Trump. Donald, you know, he definitely is a Gemini. Okay, I mean, so hey, they raided John Bolton's house. Yes, it's about freaking time. I didn't understand Trump's association with that dude during his first term. This guy was from George W. Bush's. From his regime, and definitely a big neocon, and I didn't really understand all that. I don't know where that stands presently. I will see if they have anything incriminating on Mr. Bolton, but it's nice to see him taken down a peg. Let's just put it that way. So that's good Trump. I like that one. Bad Trump? What's this flag crap he's talking about? And I know this gets people's emotions, and that's what just feels so manipulative and so stupid, folks. This is old. This went before the Supreme Court like in 1989. There was some case about flag burning, and then there's been other Republicans who want to do this. Oh, I want to have a constitutional amendment to ban flag burning. And I was like, okay, look, let's get this straight, folks. If somebody was next to me and they're going to try to burn a flag, I'm going to try to stop them, okay? If anybody burns a flag in a public domain, like on the street of a city, they're trying to do a protest thing, I hope that the local laws with setting things on fire in public will punish said person, okay? But we can't be messing around with people's expression. If my neighbor wants to be stupid, for example, and burn the American flag, I mean, I'm going to try to talk him out of it, but, you know, if he's doing it on his property, his or her property, I mean, that's their business if they're going to be an idiot, you know, like that. So we don't want to go down this slippery slope where, well, we have our First Amendment, but you can't do this, but you can't say that. But, you know, this is the whole thing. This is the whole thing. Our First Amendment is very special, folks. We do not want to take it for granted. And also, it feels kind of manipulative. Like, Donald, what are you trying to do? You're trying to poke the stupid left more to get more people to burn the flag, to get more people riled up to hate each other even more. And you know, it's just, it feels manipulative. Don't like the flag talk. Don't like the flag stuff. That being said, someone tries to burn one in front of me, I'm going to try to stop them, okay? So keep that in mind. By the way, to all protesters out there, right, left, center, wherever your place, you know, whatever you're thinking, I just want to say I have seen some good protest things done before. Some people don't like Trump, made these big things like of his head, like these big things, and they float up in the air and they walk around with it. And, you know, the different signs are very to the point. And so smart protesters, where they get to their point and they have a point, I appreciate some of that. So just keep it real, keep it classy, America, okay, on that one. Now, there's some other ones here, though, and here's a good Trump. He might be doing some investigations, and this is about time to one George Soros and maybe his son Alex Soros, and they might get them on some RICO charges. We'll see where that goes. Once upon a time, Trump wanted to get a loan from Georgie Porgy, but anyway, we'll see what happens there. And that's interesting, too, because Scott Besson used to work for George Soros, but Soros has definitely been doing some terrible things, and he's a foreigner, I believe. I don't know, maybe he's an American citizen. I don't know. I think he currently resides in Argentina, originally from Hungary. Quite an interesting character, if you're not familiar with George Soros. Super rich, powerful billionaire who's messed with and thrown his money around in many of our elections and much of our political process in this country, including lots of district attorneys in different states and cities and stuff like that. So really important to keep always an eye on what the Soros and the Soros family is doing. This one really, now Logan was just telling me about a story that's just hot off the presses here with the Pentagon and Microsoft and some accusations of some Chinese spying going on. So in light of all of that, it's very, very interesting because did you see, folks, where Donald Trump wants to increase, now this is more the bad Trump again, okay, or at least one man's opinion, increase the number of Chinese students in America. I think we have 200 and something, almost 300,000 Chinese students in America. And many of them, I'm sure, are here for good purposes to get an education, okay? But we've had a situation with Chinese spies. We've had a situation with Chinese companies. We've had a situation with Chinese buying land here in America, particularly near military bases. What could go wrong there? I don't know. So this seems like a real weird about face for Donald Trump with China. And also the Commerce Secretary Howard Lutnick, a former neighbor of who was that guy? Jeffrey Epstein. That's right. Isn't that a little funny? Isn't that a little strange? Yeah, Howie living next door to Jeffrey. Anyway, Howard Lutnick with Laura Ingraham on Fox, on the Fox News channel a while back, and even Laura, who I usually don't like because she was definitely a part of the whole Bush thing, and very pro-W for those 8 years. And anyway, she was giving Howard Lutnick, our Commerce Secretary, a little bit of heck, saying, "Hey, this isn't America first. If you're going to double, literally double the number of Chinese students in our universities," and then he's coming back to her saying, "Well, if we don't do that, 10 or 15% of our universities are going to close down." Well, I don't know. Maybe that's free market. I don't know. Maybe that should that happen? Good question. I mean, isn't big education, one of our bigs in America that maybe needs a little poke to the, to the balloon? I mean, come on now, folks. And again, I thought Linda McMahon was, where does she stand on all this kind of stuff? The Secretary of Education. Lots of things that just make you kind of wonder a little bit there. And then, did you hear Jordan Peterson? I don't know, 2 or 3 years ago? He's telling everybody AI is going to come and it's going to shut down a bunch of the universities anyway. So where are you at there, Howie? Where are you at there, buddy? And what's up with you, President Trump? Do you want to let in all these students? Are we going to vet them all pretty well? Are you sure you're not going to let any more spies? So everybody, if you're not paying attention to the ball, and I get it, you're working, you're raising a family, you're living your life, right? You can't watch all the news outlets all the time. But in the last, 8 months, and Donald Trump's, he's been in office here almost 8 months, it's 7 or 8 months. There was a time when the Doge people were in there, and he's on a plane, I think, and he's doing one of his casual interviews with the press corps that's on the plane with him, and he's saying, "Oh yeah, Doge is going to get over to the Pentagon." This is like in the spring, okay, of this year, 2025, and he's talking with the president, like, "Oh yeah, I'm sure there's hundreds of billions of dollars of waste at the Pentagon." I'm like, all right. Yes, Mr. President. Yes, I'm all right. This is something that many people of various political persuasions have been saying for a long time, including Senator Rand Paul. He was at the 2012 Republican convention, one where they anointed Willard, Mitt Romney, and Paul Ryan was the ticket. What a pathetic ticket that was to go against, unfortunately, Obama and Biden. But anyway, I digress. The point is, people have known this. Again, both Democrats and Republicans, that there needs to be a lot more auditing going on in the Pentagon. That's where so much of our budget, our annual budget goes, okay? And does all that money really make sense? Is it people scratching people's backs and, providing, buying government contracts and weaponry and things, and then other people, kicking back to people's campaigns, and this big circle fest, you know what I'm saying? And again, we, the American people, and our future generations, because we're so deep in debt, paying for this. Basically, pay for their party. Their party at our expense, okay? That's usually what it is. So when you hear this, from Howard Lutnick, and, and he's, what is Howard Lutnick all about big education? I don't know. Maybe big education needs a little bit of the balloon needs a little pop, Maybe more kids should go to your local schools, your junior colleges and your tech your tech schools. Maybe some people are going, the big university or Ivy League. Maybe they should go to more state schools, which are usually cheaper too. By the way, what's his name? Dave Ramsey, one of the financial gurus out there, he's talked about that for years. Why people, we got to go to this school, got to go to this big school. Then they come out with all this debt, hundreds of thousands of dollars in debt, and it takes them forever to pay that off. It's crazy stuff going on out there. So all these things going on here, folks. Again, this is how the show's probably going to be, just realistically speaking. Good Trump, bad Trump. Can you handle it? Can you dig it? Look at Breaking Point, Sagar and Crystal. I kind of like them. Young, they're liberal, but you know what? They'll rip on Democrats. They rip on everybody. And that's how it should be. We should just tell it like it is, and then you figure out what you think. All right, let us know in the views and comments below, please, and thank you as always. Before we go, I like the Fed stuff. The Fed stuff's so much fun. Now, remember Trump was threatening, I'm going to get rid of Jerome Powell. He's an idiot. And he was almost acting like that Powell was a Biden guy. Well, Powell was originally a Trump guy. Biden then did the same mistake and reappointed the idiot. And then all of a sudden, Donald Trump, I guess Scott Bessent talked to him and said, you really can't fire him, sir. Now, there's been trouble with presidents and Fed chairs and Fed governors before. Nixon had some trouble. Even President Johnson had some trouble. You can look some of that stuff up. It's kind of interesting. But those of us in the conspiracy world, we think the Fed has nothing to do with the federal government. I should say nothing to do with it. It's just not a part of the federal government. And when people see the word federal, they assume it's part of the government. They assume it's part of the United States Treasury. Well, the way my understanding is that no, it's a private banking consortium. It has a relationship with the U.S. Treasury, has a relationship with the U.S. government, but it's not a part of the government. I don't mean to mince words or parse too much here, but I'm just trying to get to the point here, folks. So can Donald Trump really fire Lisa Cook? She's had some controversy about some things that she's done personally with some of her finances. Jay Powell had some controversy with this guy. Is he going to cut rates in September? I think he'll probably cut at least a quarter point. Maybe he probably should, but he's got to keep an eye on inflation. Got to keep an eye on inflation, folks. So I think in general, ladies and gentlemen, I just hope, now switching gears more to the financial realm, as we talked about the Fed, their $2 billion renovation of the buildings. $2 billion. What kind of building is it? You got racquetball courts in there. I mean, what's in there? You got a garage for a space alien, the spaceship. I mean, come on, $2 billion. Renovations. Wow. Crazy stuff. But, we got to watch the economic picture, right? Because I'm seeing a lot of things. Are you seeing them? Cracker Barrel having a little bit of trouble. Oh, it's a woke thing. I don't know. It's just a woke thing. I think as a company, a lot of younger people are not going there. They associate more with an older crowd. They're not going there. And then you look at Walmart. They just had their earnings a few weeks ago, and all of a sudden they're down 4% that day. Walmart was. Think about that for a second, folks. So you're seeing some weird cracks in the economy. Vegas is down at least 10% now, right? 10, 11% they're saying. What's going on there with Las Vegas? Anecdotal, all right, relative of mine, brother Jesse. He's at a concert. I don't know, Billy Idol or whatever. Mo. Anyway, he was checking out Billy Idol, and at the venue. First of all, the tickets were fairly reasonable, which ticket prices have been crazy for a long time, like well over $100, wherever you're sitting, whatever, crazy. His tickets were under $100, and then that night they were advertising that if you paid for some other acts, I don't know, Judas Priest, Jonas Brothers, whatever, that night, tickets were only like $35. Like what? What's that all about? I mean, so you're starting to see things happening, folks, and I would pay more and more attention to stuff like that. Again, we're probably going to go into recession here, folks. Might not really feel it till next year, but just keep an eye on the ball because stuff's happening, and maybe it's a time for everybody to look in the mirror and maybe stop spending so much, stop living this crazy debt cycle, running up all this debt in your own personal life. Not even talking about the government. They're nuts. And straighten out what you can. Be the CEO of your own life. Think about it, folks. All right. And then on a happy note here, folks, a couple movies to recommend. Sketch looks like a very good movie from Angel Films. Also, here's one that's been out for a while on Netflix, Unfrosted. You might find that to be very interesting indeed. And a new book out by Chicagoland political commentator Sean Thompson. It's called What If It's All a Lie? So I got to check that book out there. All right, folks, thank you so much for watching. As always, God bless and have a great day.